Hello and welcome to Blossom Sandwich Sews. My name is Yvette and today I've got on a new dress hot off the machine and I'm going to be bringing you a general catch up about all things sewing, so stick around. So the first exciting piece of news I've got to share with you all, the eagle-eyed of you may have already noticed, I've got a brand new camera. So I've got the Sony ZV-1 or ZV-1 if you like, and it's like a special vlogging camera, so the screen flips around, and so if you see me looking to the side, that's because I'm just watching myself film this video. But yeah, I'm hoping that it will improve the quality. So yeah, I was actually just browsing on eBay, like, oh, maybe there'll be a good deal, and then like straight away there was the exact camera that I was after for a really good price. So if you are in the market for a vlogging camera, I would recommend checking out eBay, because this one, although it was second hand, it's basically in brand new condition, because I think it was only used a couple of times. So yeah, that's quite exciting, and hopefully that will improve the quality of my videos and give me motivation to keep filming as well. And also I won't have to deal with trying to clip my fat cased phone into the clampy thing and having to keep deleting stuff off my phone. I'm sure fellow YouTubers will know the struggle. So yeah, anyway, moving on from that, I am going to just tell you about some of my recent makes to let you know what I've been up to. So I've been pretty crazy busy at work recently, so I haven't been able to upload as many videos as I would like, which is why I did a poll for what you guys would be interested to see on my community page. So thank you if you voted in that. It is good to know that I'm making videos that are like the type of videos that you're interested in watching. So the first thing that I've made recently is these red Danny trousers by True Bias in this fabric that was gifted to me from Sony Sunshine. They've got an elastic waist and they're super comfy. So I've got actually a whole other vlog about the making process of these and all the fitting that I had to do to get them to fit properly. So I will link that in the cards, and then if you click on that it will go into your up next. And I've got some Pigeon Wishes buttons that I used on the front of these that I don't think that I shared in my previous video about it, but yeah, they're really comfy and I've already worn them quite a lot, even though I only made them recently. And then a couple of things that I've made that I haven't shared yet. So the first thing is this dress I made using a 1970s pattern. So my husband's gran gave me her huge stash of vintage patterns. So I have got another video about that as well, with some of my pics of looking through all the patterns that she gave me. So I was invited to a James Bond themed costume party recently, so I thought I would try and make a dress using one of the vintage patterns. So this is probably a bit hard to show when it's not on. Here we go. This is a halter neck black dress in a viscose Kadee that I got from the new craft house. And this fabric is actually perfect because it's probably not going to show up well on camera because it's black, but it's quite weighty even though it's still got the drape of a viscose, so it makes it feel like more formal than like a viscose challis or something. Yeah, so this was really nice. It's like floor length, and yeah, so this was sort of my Bond girl inspired look. And it was quite nice to be able to use one of the vintage patterns as well. I did do quite a few adjustments to the pattern because let's just say the 1970s girls were not up on their squat game. So yeah, it will probably be another video similar to my Danny trousers video that's just a lot about me talking about my butt and what I've got to do to get it to fit into clothes. But yeah, that was a really fun project, and I actually sewed this up in one day because I didn't have time to sew it like in the week, and the party was on Saturday, so I had to sew it Saturday during the day for the party in the evening. And then the other thing that I've made is obviously this dress that I'm wearing now, which is a Helen's Closet Gilbert top. So there's the collar there, and I've got some pink vintage buttons that I used on it, and then I did it with pleats instead of gathers, just to change it up a bit. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I actually started this quite a while ago, back in September, but then I kind of got distracted on other projects, which is unusual for me. Usually I just do a project, like one project at a time. But yeah, I had other stuff that I wanted to do, so I kind of left this to the side. So it actually got finished up pretty quickly because I'd already done, you know, most of the bodice. I'd already done like the collar and the burrito method facing and everything like that. So yeah, I just needed to put the sleeves and the skirt on basically. So that was quite satisfying to do with, you know, less time than usual, and this is perfect for the Pigeon Wishes and Cut One Pair lilac lovers party. So I'm not a big wearer of lilac, I'm just not convinced that it suits me, but this fabric is a bit more in my comfort zone with the navy background, and then it's got some purpley flowers on, but I think like from a distance where it's got the pink and the blue together, it's lilac-y enough. Let me know what you think, whether this you think I can get away with this for the Pigeon Wishes lilac party. So the Lilac Lovers Party, if you haven't heard about it, is a challenge on Instagram, which is hosted by Meg from Pigeon Wishes and Cut One Pair. They're doing a button collaboration to celebrate, and there's a competition running on Instagram as well, but they've actually invited me to an in-person Lilac Lovers Party in London, which is really exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'll let you know how that is, because that'll be really fun to actually be able to meet some people in person. Yeah, so those are all the things that I've made recently, just briefly, and I'm sure I'll talk more about them in future videos and on my Instagram as well. So my Instagram is Blossom Sandwich on Instagram if you want to have a look at all the stuff I've been up to. I'm not very good at posting stuff here and on Instagram at the same time. I just sort of post it when I get around to it. So yeah, that's what I've been up to lately. And then I have a few new fabrics to have joined my ever-growing stash that I can show you. So my friend Natalie sent me, I think it's 3 meters of this TARDIS fabric for all you Doctor Who fans. And this, I think I'm going to make a shirt for Mr. Sandwich if I ever get around to that. So I already have one shirt that I am planning to make for him, but I said I would definitely have it done by Christmas, and Christmas is now like really creeping up, so we'll see if he ever gets any shirts, hopefully eventually. And then the next fabric is this really cool fabric, which is like a double gingham double gauze. So it's got a double gauze with a like small scale gingham on one side and a larger scale gingham on the other. So I thought that would be really cool to recreate the vintage blouse with the front ruffles that I was wearing in my previous video. So I'll put in a picture of the pattern so you know what I'm talking about, because I don't have it here with me. So I thought it'd be cool to do like the main part of the blouse in the larger check, and then like the details like the ruffles and the placket in the smaller gingham. So this fabric was from Fabric Godmother, and they had it in this navy colourway, which is quite a dark navy, and they also had it in mustard. But I've noticed that recently quite a few shops have this in a lot like different colourways as well. So Hey So Sister have it in like a sort of light bluey greeny duck egg type colour, and Somi Sunshine have it in quite a few colours as well, including like a bright red. So yeah, and it's not too like some double gauzes are quite bulky and squishy, but this one feels quite light, so I think it's going to be quite nice to wear and not feel like, you know, a big baby. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. Hopefully I can make something with that soon and not have it just sitting around in my cupboard like all the rest of the fabrics that live in there. And then the next fabric is one that I'm definitely going to be sewing up soon. This is my next on the cutting table. You know how it is, getting excited for the next new project. So this fabric is called Gloria, and I bought it from Hey Sew Sister. So this has got a little bit of lilac in as well. So in theory I like lilac and yellow, and I really like the two together, but I feel like I just don't have the confidence to wear either of those colours as like the main thing, because I'm not sure how well they suit me. It's just a bit out of my comfort zone. So I thought this with the black background would be good for winter, because I can wear it with black tights. And also it brings some new colours into my wardrobe without pushing me too far out of my comfort zone. So this is like a cotton poplin, but it's quite nice. It's really light and yeah, not too drapey, but it's not like too thick like a quilting cotton either. So I think this will be really nice to sew with and to wear. And this I'm planning to make the new pattern by Selkie Patterns, the Celeste dress. So their Selkie and Husqvarna sewing machines are running a competition on Instagram, where if you make the Selkie Celeste dress and share it on Instagram before the end of the month, you can be entered into a competition to win a Husqvarna embroidery machine, which is worth like £5,000. So I've decided that I'm going to enter and I'm going to win, but I haven't started sewing anything yet. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I've just I've got this, and I got the Selkie PDF printed, so I am going to work on that hopefully this week so that I don't run out of time before the end of the month. Yeah, so that's quite exciting. I think I'm going to go for sleeve 2, which is like a fitted sleeve at the top and then a bishop sleeve, just because that's different to the other dresses that I have. And then it's like a gathered smock type dress, but it's interesting in that the front waist is lower than the back waist, where the skirt gathers in, so it's a bit different in that way. So yeah, I've done a few modifications to the pattern already based on my original twirl, just like standard things that I often need to do, like moved up the darts, and also a full bicep adjustment because I have quite chunky arms. So that is what I'm working on next. So hopefully I'll have done that soon, and I can check in and tell you about that. So the rest of the video I wanted to chat about the questions for Friday Sews. So I don't know what day this is going to come out. It probably won't be a Friday, but I just really struggle to post a video on a Friday because I work during the week. I feel like filming it on a Sunday is too far in advance to then post on the Friday, but then I end up not having time in the week, and especially now where it's like dark by 4 p.m. I just haven't been able to film Friday Sews for a while. So I thought I would catch up on all the Friday Sews prompts. So if you're not aware, Friday Sews is a YouTube hashtag that was founded by Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room. So I'll link her channel in the description below. And she has recently started a Friday Sews creators group on Facebook, and to try and like keep the inspiration flowing, she's doing a weekly prompt with like a question that you can then talk about that during your Friday Sews video. So yeah, I'm going to try and catch up on all of those now, since I haven't been doing weekly videos for a while. So the first question from this month was, what was the first thing you ever made? So I did do sewing at school, which I have to say I didn't enjoy. I found it very stressful, and my teacher was very intimidating. But the first thing that we made there was juggling balls, like the triangular sort of juggling balls filled with rice. And mine were, I don't know, they turned out okay, but I can't juggle, so they weren't very useful ever to me, and I was just a bit like, you know, this is so pointless. Like, I think if we had sewn things that we actually wanted to make, it would have been a lot more fun rather than just sewing like random things. But I think the issue at the school was that like they didn't have like you know, bolts of fabric. They just had sort of small bits here and there, so then we had to make small projects. But the first thing that I made that got me into sewing like as a hobby was a couple of years ago. Well, in 2019 I bought my sewing machine to make some hammocks for my pet rats, which sadly are not with us anymore. But I was looking on like Etsy and stuff, and there were these really cute like fleece hammocks for the rats to sort of sleep and play in, but they were so expensive, and I was like, well, there's just sort of 2 squares of fleece sewn together, so like this doesn't seem that difficult to do. So I was like, oh, I will get a like cheap sewing machine, get some fleece and see how it goes type thing. So I did that. So that was my first thing that got me into it, and it was quite good because like fleece is easy to sew in that it doesn't fray, so that helped. And then where I had my rats were not let's say discerning customers, they just, you know, chewed it up regardless of whether it was well sewn or not. So that was quite good. It was quite nice to have like a low stakes project to start with, just to learn like the basics of, you know, sewing in a straight line, the importance of, you know, having a seam allowance, because that was one of the things that I always used to struggle with at school. Like, what is the point of a seam allowance? It seems like it's just wasting so much fabric. Like, why not just sew as close to the edge as you can? Yeah, so that was quite good for learning. And then after that, I just made a few, you know, a similar sort of small projects, nothing too, you know, difficult or nothing to wear. And I think that was a good place to start, because I think if I jumped straight in with garment sewing, I might have got disheartened, because it, you know, even if you finish it well and then it doesn't fit, it feels like you haven't, you know, achieved what you wanted. So then the first garment sewing project that I made, so the first one that I made was this skirt without, it wasn't with a pattern, it was like a big sort of rectangle, and then just like a gathered, you know, the waistband was just elasticated to gather it in. So I made that using a made everyday YouTube tutorial, and it's a kind of a pattern for a children's skirt, so it wasn't great, and I used a horrible fabric. Like, I used this shiny synthetic type fabric that was very slippery and very drapey, and then I also used this sort of like polyester, like shiny black lining fabric as well, and that was just a nightmare to sew. It was so horrible, and like, I just, at the time, I knew nothing about fabric, like fabric types, and you didn't know about what would be easy to sew. So yeah, I just went to Hobbycraft and picked up this like shiny silver fabric because it caught my eye, and I felt like the person in the shop should have been like, what are you doing? Don't buy this fabric. Like, you clearly don't know what you're doing. But yeah, that was the first thing I made. And then the first pattern that I made was the Tilly and the Buttons Dominique skirt, which I have to say I made one and then I haven't made any since, but it was quite good just to get some basics down. But yeah, that's kind of a long-winded answer to a lot of things that I've made, depending on what you count as what's the first thing I made. Right, so the next question is, what is the craziest thing you've ever sewn, or craziest costume? So I haven't really sewn a lot of costumes, to be honest, apart from my new James Bond inspired dress, which I guess kind of counts as a costume, but you could still wear it as a normal dress as well, so I feel like it's not that crazy. It's kind of a sophisticated costume, I guess. I am kind of hoping that I get invited to a black tie party or something so I can wear it again. So that I wouldn't say was too crazy. I'd say the craziest thing I made was probably my Battenberg dress. That was probably the most sort of conceptual thing I've made, and I do actually wear it. I quite like it, but yeah, it is a bit wild. I don't wear it to work, and it's got very big gathered sleeves as well, so it's not very practical for wearing in the winter under cardigans and stuff. Yeah, so that's probably my craziest project. The next question is, what is the favourite thing that you've made for somebody else? So I don't make too much stuff for other people. I just find it a lot more like pressure than making something for myself. I worry that they will like notice little things that have gone wrong. But I think my favourite thing that I've made is this dress that I made for my mum. So it was the Betty dress, but I did it with a pleated skirt instead of with a circle skirt, because I was using a quite a directional, fairly large scale fabric, and I worked really hard with the placement of that fabric because it had some blue tits on it, and I got worried that she'd end up with a big blue tit on the tit and that would just become embarrassing and she wouldn't want to wear it. And also I worked really hard on the pattern matching as well, so I matched the pattern up the invisible zip on the back, which I was really pleased with how that went, because that was my first attempt of pattern matching. Yeah, and I did a toile as well, and brought that to when I visited her and like sort of pinned it to fit a bit better. So yeah, it fitted really well, and I worked really hard on like the pattern matching, the placement, and just generally the finishing. So that's probably my favourite thing that I've made. I also made my granddad a shirt with like this novelty print collie fabric, which was really fun to do as well. But yeah, that's my mum's dress. I think I'd say was my favourite thing I've made for someone else. I think sewing for other people is like a lot more stressful, but it is quite rewarding when they like it. But I think the process is less enjoyable. So that leads me on to the next question, which is, who's your favourite person to sew for? And I don't think I'm going to be alone here in saying myself. I think it is important to appreciate like the process of sewing. I feel like the process is like the sort of the hobby part, the self-care part. So if you're not enjoying the process and you're just working towards like the finished product, then the actual sewing becomes like a chore and then you don't enjoy it. So that's why I enjoy mostly sewing for myself, because it's like less pressure. Like I know that if I'm happy with it, then like that's good enough. But if I'm sewing for someone else and like something goes wrong, I find that I'm like unpicking it a lot more and trying to make it perfect. But you know, it's never going to be like completely perfect. A handmade garment's never going to be exactly the same as what you would expect from a shop. But you want to make it as good as possible for the person that you're making it for. So and then you worry that you're gonna put all this work into it and they don't like it, or it doesn't fit them, or I just find it I like occasionally making things for someone else, but I find it more fun to make something for myself. And also it's more like a project that you make for yourself is then something you can wear, and it's an expression of yourself. And yeah, so myself is my favourite person to sew for. The next question is, what is the nicest thing anyone has ever said about something you've made? So this was kind of a tough one, because like on Instagram especially, it's such a supportive community, and people always say such lovely things. But I think it rings a lot different when someone gives you a compliment in person. I kind of feel like on Instagram it's like a space where you have created it to share the things that you've made, and the people that follow you are there to look at the things you've made. So it's not like you don't appreciate their comments, but it's like they're you know, you know that they will appreciate what you've made, because that's sort of why they're there, if that makes sense. But when you just wear something in the real world and just somebody like that you know or that you meet is like, wow, I really like your dress, or something like that, and they, you know, and if it's someone that they don't sew, they're often very like, oh my goodness, did you make this? So I think that is, it just rings a lot different. So when I wore my new 70s dress to the party, I left, when I was leaving the party, I just got changed back into my normal clothes, because I didn't really want to wear the long dress on and off the train on the way home. So I got changed, and then I was sort of saying goodbye to people, and someone that I'd like just met that night at the party was like, oh, you've got changed. I really wanted to say that you looked so beautiful in the dress that you were wearing this evening. And I don't know, just you know, I feel like you just don't expect to get such nice like compliments from people in person. So that meant a lot. That was really nice. So yeah, that was quite a nice question actually. That was quite nice to think about. You know, it's quite a boost to your self-esteem to wear something that you've made and then get a compliment on it, because it's like not just a compliment on how you look, it's like a compliment on something that you've achieved as well. Yeah, so that's kind of rambly. None of this is scripted, I'm just chatting now. And then the next question is a preempting question of what are you planning to buy on Black Friday? So I might have to be good and try and not buy anything sewing related on Black Friday, because my fabric stash is now full. I definitely need to sew some of the fabric that I've already got, so fabric is out. There's a few things that I have put on my Christmas list that I think might be helpful, like I've asked for some like pattern trace paper, so I can it's like a Swedish tracing paper, so you can sew the pattern pieces as well, so that might help cut out a step of my sewing process. And also they have these little spool pods where you can put in the spools of thread with their matching bobbin, and you can store them together. So the organisation I think is quite satisfying to me. So yeah, that's on my Christmas list, so hopefully I'll get that for Christmas, so I won't be buying that for Black Friday. And then I've just bought this camera as well, so that's quite a big investment. So yeah, hopefully I won't get too tempted by anything on Black Friday, but we shall see. I'm interested to know what you guys have got your eye on, although that might give me some more temptation, but yeah, we'll see. So drop in the comments if there's anything that you're hoping to pick up on Black Friday or you've put on your Christmas list. Yeah, so that is my update. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that, and I will be back soon with a video or some more videos. I'm not going to say what I'm going to make next in case I change my mind, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you've watched until now, I'm going to assume that you did enjoy, so if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing, because my posting schedule has not been super regular lately. So if you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll at least get a notification when my next video is out, and so you won't miss any. And yeah, thanks for watching, and happy sewing everyone, and I will see you around. Bye!